Hey, good morning. Welcome to week 1, video 2. And I have something I'm really excited to bring up today. And this is actually pre-content. This is going to lay such an amazing foundation for the foundation we're going to lay with our practices when we get into the content of my book. And this is something that came up for me because I was under the illusion last night that something should be different. And I woke up this morning and kind of slowly came into this realization of what was going on for me. And I realized that all of our pain comes from thinking something should be different. And thinking something should be different just comes from awareness. So our level of joy in our life, which is why I think we're here, to experience this life through this vehicle of our body, to come into duality, because then we can experience flowers and no flowers, happiness and no happiness, grass and no grass, breeze and no breeze, trees and no trees, love and no love. You have to have duality, right, to experience what's there. And that's why I believe we're here. But our level of awareness determines how much of that we're able to experience, whether or not we're in a story in our head or we're actually in the reality of just the present moment. And like I referred to Bruce Lipton previously, who talks about up until 7, we're in theta brain waves where we're in hypnosis and we're just encoding. And then we are the rest of our lives playing that out or trying to heal that. And that's our level of awareness, how aware we are that all of it is an illusion. And we can't just change that from the level of the mind. But what we can do are put practices in place and support ourselves with people around us, with what we do every day, with what we're practicing every day, for that awareness to come in, to seep in. I picture it like a movie when it changes a scene and you see something kind of slowly take the place of the picture you're looking at. And the way I was thinking of that this morning is that this awareness is you're either asleep or you're awake. When you're asleep and having a nightmare, you really think that that's happening, and that's your pain. But if you were awake, you would realize that none of that is actually happening, right? So if you're asleep, you are thinking that everything in your life is real, that people are doing things to you, that circumstances can hurt you, etc., etc. And I know that that can happen on the physical plane, but also we're not just physical beings. So what I wanted to say is that we're here either asleep in this life and believing everything is real and just in the story. We're somewhere in the middle where sometimes we believe that and sometimes we don't, or we're completely outside of it, right? So in our lives, we can do things and surround ourselves with people that keep us asleep. We can surround ourselves with people and do things and practices that keep us in a state of maybe like lucid dreaming, where we can change the circumstances of the dream. Someone's chasing us and we can create a trapdoor where they fall through the trapdoor and we can escape. Or what we can do is wake up. But like I was referencing, we don't just instantly, there are times, right, but most of us kind of go back and forth out of awareness. And what we can do to support ourselves in that, like I said, is put all these practices into place for that awareness to come in so we can wake up. For me, I don't want to stay in the state of lucid dreaming. I don't want to stay in the state of thinking that the circumstances are real. I'm here to wake up, to experience the full joy of my life. So I'm choosing people in my life that are causing me to wake up. But there's a state between asleep and awake where you realize, it's like a fade-in, right? Where you're in the dream and someone comes and says, wake up, you're having a nightmare. And at first you think you're in it, and maybe they become part of your nightmare. Actually, you just incorporate them into it, right? You hear a voice or something, you incorporate that in. But slowly you wake up and you realize, oh, that was all just in my mind. It was just a nightmare. And that can happen in our waking life too, and I actually believe that it's exactly the same thing. That we can be in the state where most of us are, and where I was definitely last night, where I'm kind of lucid dreaming, someone's trying to wake me up, but I'm going, no, this thing is chasing me, it's real, don't you see it? And then at some point I'm awake, and I see that none of it is real, that it was simply a nightmare, and I can just step out of it. I don't have to go back into it and reason with the nightmare. I don't have to understand the nightmare, because I know it was just a nightmare. But pain comes when we think something should be different. So if I think I should be more awake than I am right now, that's going to cause me pain. And what I want to do to set the stage for us doing this, going through the book, for doing this series, is to really remind ourselves that wherever we are is absolutely perfect, that we cannot change it from the level of the mind, and to wake up and to experience the full joy in our life, because that's why we would even want to wake up, to experience everything as joy and love, no matter what it is, because that's the truth of it. Then what we can do is to put these practices into place. So we're going to go through the book. We're going to put all of these 8 practices into place. I'm going to have so many little inspirations and insights to share with you around that, specifically for being a mom, because the book was not written from the viewpoint of a new mom. I had been a mom for a long time, but now I'm coming at it from a new point, from the challenges and experience of being a new mom. And what we're doing is we're putting those practices into place so that we can wake up out of what we think is controlling us, out of what we think is keeping us down, out of what we think is making our life difficult, and so we can come into the full joy of it. Does that sound good? Doesn't that sound amazing? So the point of this video is that you're perfect where you are. Nothing needs to change. And we're simply putting in practices that are going to be supportive of us. And then we are naturally going to rise in awareness. We're naturally going to come into that joy. So we're not coming from a place of something is wrong and I have to fix it. Because at least for me, that's what it feels like when I've gotten 2 hours sleep sometimes, or when I'm trying to get something done and I just can't get it done because there's someone hanging on my leg, and I feel that frustration rise, and it's all being out of the moment and out of the realization of joy and love and just being here. So we're going to put those practices into place that are going to support our natural rising to that place of joy. And I'm so excited to be on that process with you. Remember, this week we're reading the introduction, and then on Sunday I'll come back to you with another video discussing what the book talked about from the perspective of a new mom and what maybe we can glean from that. So I love you all. Much love, much peace. What an exciting adventure. See you soon.